Three Little Pigs versus Big Bad Wolf, the ultimate showdown. In the heart of the forest, where tall trees formed a canopy that filtered sunlight and painted the forest floor with patches of light, lived a cunning wolf. He was always on the lookout for his next meal, and the three little pigs that lived nearby seemed like the perfect target. The wolf was a lean and agile creature with a thick coat of gray fur that shimmered in the sunlight. His eyes were sharp and piercing, and his ears were always pricked up, listening for any sound that could lead him to his next meal. He had a long snout, sharp teeth, and claws that could tear through flesh and bone. The three little pigs, on the other hand, were a trio of brothers who shared a bond that was stronger than steel. The first pig was the smartest of the lot, with a keen mind that was always working. He was the one who came up with most of the ideas, and his brothers looked up to him for guidance. The second pig was a bit lazy, always looking for ways to avoid hard work. He often spent his days lounging around in the sun, taking naps and snacking on the fruits that grew in the forest. The third pig, however, was the most practical of the three. He knew the value of hard work and was always ready to roll up his sleeves and get his hands dirty. He was a skilled builder and had a knack for coming up with practical solutions to problems. The three little pigs were aware of the wolf's intentions, and they knew that they had to come up with a plan to keep themselves safe. They spent their days gathering resources, discussing their options, and devising a plan to outsmart the wolf. As the days passed, tensions in the forest grew, and the pigs could sense that the wolf was getting closer. They knew that they had to act fast if they wanted to survive, and so they put their heads together and came up with a plan that they hoped would keep them safe from the wolf's hungry jaws. The first pig suggested that they build a strong brick house that the wolf would not be able to knock down. He argued that the brick house would be sturdy and would provide the best protection against the wolf's attacks. The second pig, however, thought that building a brick house was too much work and suggested that they build a house out of sticks. He argued that sticks were readily available in the forest, and building a house out of sticks would be much easier and quicker. The third pig disagreed with both of his brothers' suggestions. He believed that building a house out of straw would be the most practical solution. Straw was lightweight and easy to work with, and building a straw house would require much less effort than building a brick or stick house. However, the third pig knew that a house made of straw would not be strong enough to withstand the wolf's attacks. So he suggested that they fortify the straw house with traps and hidden defenses that would make it difficult for the wolf to enter. The other two pigs thought that the third pig's idea was brilliant, and they set to work building the house of straw. They spent the whole day gathering straw and building the house, carefully placing traps around it and installing hidden defenses. The first pig used his knowledge of architecture to design the house's layout, while the second pig helped gather materials and build the walls. The third pig took charge of setting up the traps and defenses, carefully placing them in strategic locations around the house. As the sun began to set, the pigs stepped back to admire their handiwork. They had built a house of straw that looked simple from the outside, but was fortified with traps and hidden defenses that would make it almost impossible for the wolf to enter. The pigs were proud of their work and felt confident that they would be able to outsmart the wolf. However, they knew that their plan would be put to the test when the wolf arrived. So they settled in for the night, hoping that their plan would be enough to keep them safe. The next morning, the wolf arrived at the pig's house. He could smell the scent of the pigs inside and was eager to sink his teeth into their succulent flesh. He approached the house made of straw and tried to break it down with all his might, but the house held its ground. The wolf then tried to climb onto the roof of the house to enter through the chimney. However, the roof was covered with slippery oil, causing the wolf to lose his grip and fall off the roof. As he landed on the ground, he was caught off guard by the traps that the third pig had set up. The traps snared him, causing him to fall into a concealed pit. The pit was deep and filled with sharp spikes, causing the wolf to yelp in pain. He struggled to free himself, but the more he tried, the deeper he sank into the pit. Eventually, he gave up and lay there, wounded and defeated. The pigs watched from inside their house as the wolf struggled in the pit. They felt a sense of relief knowing that their plan had worked and that they were safe from the wolf's attacks. After a while, the wolf managed to free himself from the trap and limped back into the forest, vowing to never return again. The pigs, on the other hand, spent the rest of the day repairing the traps and defenses and making sure that their house was still strong and secure. As days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, the pigs continued to live in their house made of straw, fortified with traps and hidden defenses. Though they were never attacked again, they remained vigilant and always kept an eye out for any potential danger. In the end, the pigs lived happily ever after, knowing that they had outsmarted the wolf and had found a way to protect themselves from harm. And the wolf, though he may have been cunning and fierce, was no match for the pigs' ingenuity and resourcefulness.